Hello, fellow seekers of truth, and welcome to the Third Eyed Wide. I'm your host, Holly, your shamanic guide and companion on this journey of self-discovery, transformation, and quantum exploration. In this space, we dive into the depths of quantum mechanics, explore the mysteries of manifestation, and unravel the threads of mysticism and spirituality. It's a quest for authenticity, a pursuit of personal and soul development, and a sanctuary for those who crave a life lived in alignment with your highest and most authentic self. Join me each week as we harness the power to upgrade yours and the collective consciousness and bend the fabric of reality. This is more than a podcast. It's an invitation to elevate your existence and tap into the limitless possibilities that await you. So open your third eye wide, subscribe to my channel, and let's dive into the mysteries to create a reality that resonates with your soul. Welcome to the Third Eyed Wide podcast. Hello, beautiful souls. Before we dive into today's episode, I have something extraordinary to share with you. My gift to you, the Rapid Reality Shift Masterclass. It's not just a class, it's an invitation to a transformational journey where we turn limitations into stepping stones and sensitivities into superpowers. This is your opportunity to witness the magic of my 4-step proven framework, the very essence that has allowed me to manifest my dreams easily and rapidly. Imagine manifesting a life that feels custom made for your soul, a life that transforms pain into purpose. I want you to experience this for yourself. Picture a reality where your desires unfold effortlessly, where the universe conspires in your favor. Head to abovebelowwellness.com/rapid reality shift and let's embark on this journey together. It's not just a class, it's an invitation to embrace your fullest potential. This masterclass is like a cosmic hug guiding you through each step, revealing the secrets to instant manifestation. It's free, it's powerful, and it's designed just for you. Don't wait. Your reality is ready for a shift. Click on the link in the description or type in abovebelowwellness.com/rapid reality shift and immerse yourself in the magic, and let's co-create the life you've been waiting for. Without further ado, welcome to today's episode. Hello, welcome to the Third Eyed Wide podcast. I'm your host, Holly. I am so stoked to have you here today. We are going to talk about how to rapidly shift your reality. Before we get into today's episode, just make sure that you smash that subscribe button so that you could get continuous content on spiritual growth and personal development. Your rapid reality shift starts now. Thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited to have you. As you can see, I kind of beefed up my my production a little bit, like I promised in the first episode, and it's only episode 2, and I've already tried a bit more. I put some ambient lighting in the background, and I got a new webcam that is 4K, because what are you doing if you're not using 4K, right? So I have 2 setups going on right now, so I am unsure which one I'm going to use and which one I like better, so I just set them both up. So if you see me kind of panning from camera to camera, it's because I feel like having 2 cameras, because that's what the cool cats are doing. So I'm so excited to have you, and I genuinely am so thankful to have you watch my podcast. This means a lot to me. It contributes to my growth, and it fills me with joy knowing that there are people who are actually watching and hopefully gaining something from this journey that I'm about to embark on and put a lot of effort into. So if you're ready to come with me along this journey, I am ready to dive in. And so let's begin today's episode where we talk about rapid reality shifts. So I have my talking points here on the side, so don't mind if I just go over and look it over what I need to talk about. I'm helping myself by using ChatGPT to kind of give me talking points, but it makes this more fun in terms of a conversation because it gives me prompts and then I just talk about what the prompts are giving me. And of course, I augmented things and I changed it to suit more my style and my coaching style. So yeah, I think this is a little bit fun. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna just keep putting out things that I think you guys will want, but it also helps me if you leave some topics in the comments down below about what you might want to hear on my podcast or what you might have questions about in terms of quantum mechanics, manifestation, spirituality, anything. Anything. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to leave a comment down below and I will do my best to answer it, whether it's through a response or through an actual episode. Please, please, please leave those comments because it really means a lot to me and it helps me help you when you tell me what you need. What do you need? What do you want? So I'm happy to help. So please, please make sure you leave just a comment below what you'd like to see. That's it. It's that easy. But in terms of what we're going to talk about today for this episode, we're going to talk about some techniques you could use that will rapidly shift your reality with little effort, with ease, and things that'll help kind of speed up the process a little bit. So I'm so excited to talk about these things. This is kind of my shtick. This is what my masterclass is about. If you listened to the little intro after the episode started, after the trailer went through, if you listen to that masterclass, this is what this is about. I go more in depth in that masterclass than I would in this episode. I'd like to keep this maybe like 15-20 minutes tops. But in that masterclass, it's about an hour long. I go more in depth, so there is a link in the description down below to access that masterclass and sign up. And I highly recommend watching it. I put a lot of juicy content in there. So this episode will kind of give you more of a practical breakdown in terms of how to rapidly shift your reality. So I hope you find it super useful. You could start applying things today. You could start rapidly shifting your reality today. So let's begin. So in terms of what I practice and what my modalities are as a shaman and as a spiritual coach, I help people expand their consciousness, and that includes utilizing the connection of your consciousness with the quantum field. And in the quantum field, there is infinite, unlimited possibilities, and the more you expand your consciousness, the more you could connect with that quantum field and start utilizing it in a way where you're creating the reality you want by thinking in a higher consciousness. And this is rapid reality shifting. Will begin with that concept in mind, just so you know that, okay? So we're going to leverage these quantum principles and utilize them in a practical way as humans so that we can begin shifting our realities fast and entering into a timeline that we want faster than we would if we were just trying to navigate our way there with like our gut instinct or with our intuition. Those things are great. I teach people how to use their intuition. I teach people how to develop their intuition. But this is taking more of the quantum principles in this episode and applying them in a practical matter in a 3D sense so that you can begin collapsing the timelines and getting to where you want to go sooner. So I'm super excited to talk about this. So these are the principles that we will talk about so that you could leverage them to begin shifting your reality and collapsing those timelines so that you could get to where you want to go a lot quicker. So when we talk about consciousness, we want to talk about kind of how it's everything and nothing at the same time, and it's also, we are consciousness, but we're also just a grain in the sand in the big scheme of things, in the big picture of things. So when we think about our consciousness and leveraging that for, oh, my phone died. I guess I'm just gonna use this one. That's okay. Anyway, just so we're clear, I do not intend on really editing these things too heavily in terms of production. I want it to be high quality, obviously. I want it to look good and I want it to be visually appealing for you all. But I also want it to be where I could authentically show up. And it's hard to do that when things are edited. And I found that that kind of trend is ending now. People don't need that retention fluff, and it's a bit annoying, especially when you're trying to have a conversation with someone. And that's what I aim this podcast to be like. And that's the experience I want you to have, and that includes the fluff, that includes technical errors, that includes my own errors, and even the pauses, the ums and the ahs. So if you're here for the real deal, you got it. So anyway, I'm just gonna let my phone charge over there, and I'm just gonna talk straight to you right here. So when we think about our consciousness, we also need to become aware in order to expand our consciousness. The two are very mutually exclusive. And so that evokes the sense of what we call metacognition in psychology and neuroscience, which is the ability to think about thinking. Humans are the only creatures on Earth that have this ability where you could think about what you think about, essentially. So that's called metacognition, and we use that heavily when we're meditating to remove ourselves from the automatic stream of consciousness that always plays on loop on its own. It's an automatic thing, especially if you live in autopilot. It just kind of goes in the background, but it controls your day-to-day life at the same time. So we want to evoke a sense of what's called an observer effect so that we can begin to remove ourselves from that stream of consciousness that's always playing on a loop that doesn't serve us, and to be entering a higher stream of consciousness that you could do while utilizing the quantum field. So you're taking your mind from that point where you're always stuck and you're trapped. That's very physical. That's very of the mind, of the brain. And when you could remove yourself from out of that and see yourself kind of like an outside person, that is the observer effect. So that's what we want to do when we aim to expand our awareness, expand our consciousness, to think in a higher consciousness. You need to be able to reflect on how you operate, essentially, and even the way you think, the way you move, the automatic thoughts that come up in certain situations, the way you respond to things, the way you react to things. We need to learn to become more aware of this in order to expand our consciousness and to be able to undo the programming that we are otherwise very unaware of. So we want to be able to first become aware and learn to observe ourselves instead of getting trapped in that constant loop that keeps us stuck and keeps us on autopilot. We don't need that. So here are some techniques that'll really help and pack a huge punch when it comes to quantum shifting. And the first one is visualization. And I know people hear that a lot, but it's so profound. Athletes use it when they're training. They heavily visualize, and it does enhance the neural pathways. And your mind literally does not know the difference between what is real and what is not when you're visualizing things. So it's as if you are doing it. So you might as well do it, because that is so powerful. That is so impactful, knowing that the neural pathways will develop just by visualizing. And doing so means that your reality will just begin changing on its own, because it's just the consciousness that you're thinking, and your consciousness creates your reality. So if you change the way you think, and the frequency in which you think changes to a higher frequency, a higher consciousness, that's when your rapid reality shift will begin happening. So that's when you will start to see different things showing up in your life, and opportunities will start to show up in your life that will ask you to start to move differently, or to make different choices, or to move on from things, or to end certain things, or to meet new people. It is just, It's very divine. It is very divine. And when you begin to connect with that collective consciousness by thinking in your own frequency and connecting to that frequency, that's how that lines up like a radio signal. You could start getting downloads from that higher consciousness that will help propel you to your highest self, to the way you want to live, to the things that you desire, to the manifestations that you want to happen fast. That's what will happen when you begin to operate in higher consciousness. And visualizing, the best way to do this is to do it before you go to bed, as you're falling asleep. That 15 minutes prior where you're off in la la land is when your brain is at like a sponge, essentially. Excuse me. I didn't bring a water down. I didn't bring a water down here. Um, so, sorry. So when you are in that sleep state, your brain waves are in a certain state. I think it's theta. It's called theta state, and that is when your brain is most susceptible to reprogramming. So you could repeat affirmations at that time as you're falling asleep. But this is when visualization is most potent. This is when the prime time should be, when you're visualizing what you want. So that could be like maybe your perfect day. Maybe there's something you're manifesting that you want and you're visualizing getting it and what you would feel like. What does it feel like as you're visualizing these things? And that visualization, like I said, your brain doesn't know the difference. So you are literally entering a different dimension when you are fully embodying yourself in this visualization and feeling it, using all your senses while you're visualizing and making it as lucid and as detailed as possible so that your body knows what that feels like, so that it creates essentially like a signature in the frequency, and it's able to just lock into that, and it will do that in your reality because you'll be able to feel your way towards it. So that's how powerful visualization is, really. Those neural pathways that project your reality will shift into that way of thinking just by visualizing every day at nighttime. That would be the prime time and the easiest way to do it. And I guarantee you, after a month, you will start to see some shifts, and it's that quick. So that brings me to my second point about techniques that you could use, is utilizing and leveraging quantum entanglement. So that literally is connecting that visualized dimension to the one that you're in now and making it reality, and doing so in terms of like string theory. So there's some metaphysics for you. So when we think of string theory, it's more like an interwoven web, and it's all tangled, right? Everything is connected. Everyone is part of this one collective consciousness, and each string is an individual on a certain life path. So when you tune into a certain frequency that's up here, a light, I'm going to explain this in very hyperbolic ways. And so think of it as like a string that lights up, and it kind of illuminates the path. And so that even though it's all tangled, you could navigate it very easily just by following this illuminated path. And it works on a physiological level with your brain and those neural synapses and those neural wirings that you have that you make when you visualize. And it works the same way. It's just on different levels, on a different scale. It's pretty much, life is like zooming in and then zooming out infinitely, and it's just smaller versions of smaller things, and like on a cellular basis down to an atomic places, and then zooming out infinitely. It's just the same thing repeating itself and scaling out and scaling out and scaling out. So that's how intense this quantum entanglement is, and you could leverage it by learning to tap into the frequency of the timeline that you want, and you could utilize visualization to do that. So that leads me to what your energy resonance is. That would be the frequency that you vibrate at. If you are constantly visualizing at night, but you're not enacting that at frequency during the day, it won't mean anything. Your reality won't change. You have to make that frequency happen in the present moment, and you can do that in the present moment. You don't have to wait for something to happen to make you feel good and feel like that you could vibrate at that frequency that you want. By visualizing it every night, you know what that feels like, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't practice it during the day. If you were constantly in a low vibrational frequency, like a doom and gloom, that you feel stuck or you're in a rut, or you're, operating from autopilot, you'll just get stuck. So you want to utilize visualization even during the day, but doing it on a way that you're acting it out. You're actually acting out that visualization, which, if there's anything more powerful than visualization, it's obviously going to be acting out the actual thing. Think of it like an experiment between someone who does visualization and they're able to achieve what they're trying to achieve, for example, like the perfect dive, and someone who physically does the dive will obviously have more of a muscle memory and achieve the rate of success of that perfect dive than someone who just visualizes. And then somebody who does both will have an even higher success rate of the perfect dive because they visualize and because they practice. They do both. So obviously visualization is powerful. Doing it on a physical level is very powerful, and acting it out is very powerful. And then combining is super powerful. So you want to be able to like embody this frequency and essentially fake it till you make it. Like, it's not faking it, because the only moment that exists now, even when you achieve what you want to achieve, that only exists in the now. And so everything that happens that you feel is inside you, and you were able to conjure that up at any time. You don't have to achieve that thing to feel it, because you feel it when you're doing these exercises and you're doing these techniques. And I hope this makes sense. I hope how you see that the present moment really reinforces the future and helps you create the reality that you want just by enacting these things out and doing the visualization and changing those neural pathways so that your consciousness can start projecting your reality in a different way. And you will start to see how it shifts when these different opportunities come up to you, or you like synchronicities come up, or you meet people by happenstance. These are the signs that you'll get when you begin to make these major shifts. Yeah, so it's funny that ChatGPT gives me these prompts, but I'm already one step ahead of it because I'm more intuitive than it is. So it's asking me to talk about quantum superposition, and that is pretty much making small intentional shifts in the present for superposition and collapsed timelines, which means taking that, acting out the future in the present and collapsing all the timelines into the now, so that you are living the timeline that you want to live now, because you're acting it out now and you're thinking in that consciousness. So the frequency that you're vibrating at is at the timeline that you are at, and in the present moment, this is just what it looks like. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, this is what the start of that timeline looks like, as long as you continue to act accordingly and to vibrate at that frequency and to think at that frequency. And you don't have to be perfect. It's like an 80-20 thing. Okay, just if you make mistakes, that'll help you get there even faster. There's no such thing as failure. So that's what quantum superposition is. So my favorite way to do it that ChatGPT wants me to talk about is quantum coherence and meditation. So it's literally just, my leg is starting to hurt. You're doing a meditation, and if you're not good at meditation, this would take some practice, and It's 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 a way to kind of tune into different frequencies to find a frequency, so you're not vibrating at it, but you're kind of trying to find it. Like if you were thinking of it like a radio, it would be like a radio dial. So you're trying to find like a good song or a good station, and you're feeling for it by turning the dial. So that's what quantum coherence meditation would be. So you would enter the 0 point state where you are nothing, and there you are one of the oneness, and all your senses are gone, and you're kind of just in the void. That's when you would start to try to fish around on a frequency way, like you would start to leverage your senses from there to navigate to the frequency that you want. And this is kind of, it's very advanced, and I'll probably talk about this in a different episode or maybe a training of some sort. But it's utilizing the concept of that dial and feeling literally your way to the timeline that you want within the quantum field. So I hope that makes sense. That's one very super powerful way that you could do also before you go to bed. If you're visualizing, if you want to add it to your routine, that could be a part of your visualization as well when you get to a very relaxed state. Let's just say that. And then just take that and start to make pretend. I know it's super simple and very complicated at the same time, but it's just start to meditate and start to try to tap into that quantum field, and then see where that leads you. See where your brain just naturally takes you, and let it take off, and it might tell you a thing or two. So we're getting to 23 minutes here. So those were my most powerful ways to rapidly shift your reality in a very practical way, utilizing very profound principles, quantum principles at that. So utilizing these shifts and leveraging these techniques is going to have a huge impact on how you think, on how you perceive things, the insights that you'll have, the downloads that you'll have. You will automatically start to ascend into different stages of a spiritual awakening. So when you do this type of work, I want you to know that that would be a side effect of doing this type of thing, and it can be quite jarring. So I want you to be very well aware of what some quantum leaps can entail, because it can be such a profound shift very quickly, and it shocks our system. And you'll see what some people get run down by it, they get thrown off by it, and then they self-sabotage. So I want you to just be very, very aware that there are implications of doing this type of work, and to really protect yourself, and to listen to your body, to rest, and to be careful what you wish for. Because once you start leveraging these types of things and these principles, seem very, like, let's just say the veil becomes very thin when you start to practice these things, because you are alchemizing your frequency and vibration and energy, and you're taking it and you're utilizing it on a theoretical level, on a practical level. So I hope it helps you, but you need to just really take care when you're doing these things. So as we get to the end of this episode, I really hope that the things that I've told you have given you some insight on how powerful small shifts are. And I want you to take it from me personally to know that I came from poverty. Like, I grew up in the ghetto, and I've gone through horrific and traumatic events, like my parents dying of cancer, and going through abusive relationships, and growing up with domestic violence in the ghetto. And I lived a very troubled life, and I am thankful to have gotten to where I am, and I owe it to my spirituality and how powerful it is on your transformation on a practical level. When you start to implement spiritual insights and you use it to cope with your existence in this world, it's It's powerful, and it really is transformative. So I hope out of anything you walk away just knowing a bit more about how this stuff works and how it can improve your life. And that alone will create a very, very, very rapid reality shift for you. So just know these things when you are navigating the quantum field, when you tap into the quantum field. It could be quite profound, it could be quite jarring, it could lead you into a dark night of the soul. It could change, no matter what you go through, it will change your reality for the good because you are living in alignment with who you want to be, what you want out of life, and really, really taking advantage of the life that you have so that you can live your best life in this lifetime. So I hope that this was helpful. If it is, please let me know in the comments below. Please share with your friends, like and subscribe so that you can get notified for new episodes that I'm going to release every week. And I am just so thankful that you joined me today, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.